History of Agriculture. Agriculture, the foundation of human civilization, begins long before recorded history, in the ancient past where wild plants and animals were the cornerstone of survival. Imagine, thousands of years ago, in a world of untamed forests and rolling plains, early humans were hunter-gatherers. They lived off the land, moving from place to place, following the animals they hunted and the plants they foraged. Yet, as time passed, something remarkable happened. It was around 10,000 BC in a region known as the Fertile Crescent, stretching through modern-day Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, where the seeds of agriculture were first sown. Early humans noticed patterns in nature. They saw that certain plants, when left undisturbed, would grow back year after year. And, as they began to observe and understand these patterns, they began to experiment. This era marked the dawn of what we now call the Neolithic Revolution. Humans stopped their constant migration and began settling in one place. They started to domesticate plants like wheat, barley, and lentils, and tame animals such as goats, sheep, and cattle. Instead of constantly searching for food, they began planting it, nurturing it, and harvesting it in cycles. This shift from a nomadic lifestyle to a settled existence allowed populations to grow, paving the way for the rise of cities and civilizations. At first, agriculture was simple. Villagers would clear small patches of land, plant their crops, and rely on the seasons to guide their success. But as populations grew, so did the need for better and more efficient methods of farming. Early farmers used simple tools like hoes made from stone, and even early plows drawn by oxen, which made their work less labor-intensive. As agriculture spread across the globe, it took on different forms depending on the region. In ancient Egypt, the Nile River's annual flooding provided fertile soil, and Egyptians developed advanced irrigation systems, channeling water to their crops with incredible precision. Alongside their grain crops, they also grew flax for linen and raised cattle for milk, meat, and labor. The Egyptians' skill in agriculture was so profound that they helped ensure the survival of their civilization for thousands of years. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, China was discovering its own agricultural marvels. Rice, a staple crop, was first domesticated in China around 5000 BC, growing in the rich, water-soaked paddies of the Yangtze River Valley. Over centuries, Chinese farmers perfected their irrigation techniques and developed tools like the iron plow, which made cultivation more efficient. China's agricultural prosperity supported its great empires, and the country's farming methods influenced neighboring regions like Korea and Japan. Fast forward a few thousand years, and we find ourselves in classical antiquity, around the 5th century BC. The ancient Greeks and Romans made significant advancements in agriculture. The Romans, in particular, perfected the use of the military plow, a sturdy iron tool that made deep furrows in the soil, allowing them to cultivate large estates known as latifundia. These vast farms produced grain, olive oil, and wine, which became central to the Roman economy. In the Middle Ages, agriculture in Europe experienced a transformation, driven in part by the three-field system. This technique involved dividing land into 3 sections, one for winter crops, one for spring crops, and one left fallow to recover. This increased crop yields and reduced the risk of famine. At the same time, the use of watermills and windmills became common, allowing farmers to process grain more efficiently. As time passed, agriculture began to face new challenges and opportunities. The Renaissance saw a renewed interest in the science of farming. The spread of new crops from the Americas, such as potatoes, corn, and tomatoes, changed the diets of many nations, boosting agricultural productivity and population growth across Europe and beyond. But the most profound shift came with the Industrial Revolution in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. The introduction of new technologies like the steam engine, the mechanical reaper, and the tractor revolutionized farming. Fields that once required human or animal labor could now be worked by machines. This era also saw the rise of fertilizers, which replenished soil nutrients, allowing crops to grow more abundantly than ever before. The 20th century brought further innovations, such as genetically modified crops designed to resist pests and diseases, and advanced irrigation systems that could water crops in arid regions. In some parts of the world, farmers began to use chemicals like pesticides and herbicides, allowing for even greater yields. Yet, with all these advances, agriculture also faced challenges. The soil became depleted, ecosystems were damaged, and water sources began to run dry. In response, a new movement known as sustainable agriculture emerged, focused on farming practices that preserve the environment and maintain healthy ecosystems for future generations. Today, we stand at a crossroads, where modern agricultural techniques blend with the wisdom of ancient practices. Vertical farms in cities grow food in small spaces, and hydroponics allows crops to grow without soil. Technology like precision farming uses satellites and sensors to optimize every aspect of crop production, while genetically engineered plants promise higher yields and resistance to climate change. The story of agriculture is a tale of innovation, adaptation, and survival. From the first seeds sown in the ancient soils of the Fertile Crescent to the high-tech farms of today, agriculture has shaped the course of human history, feeding billions and changing the way we live. But its story is far from over. It's a story still unfolding, as we face new challenges and opportunities in the global quest to feed the world. And so, as we look to the future, the question remains, how will we continue to evolve our farming practices to feed a growing planet while protecting the earth that sustains us? The next chapter in the history of agriculture is still being written.